a really exciting opportunity to work on a brand new project.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It's the biggest marine project happening in the UK just now.
Absolutely game-changing.
We're investing in my son's future and everybody else's children's futures.
I'm hugely impressed.
I think I've got a tremendous pride in this job.
I'd be proud of it.
Port of Aberdeen has operated for almost 900 years, making it the oldest existing business in the United Kingdom. Sitting at the heart of the city, the port is an integral part of Aberdeen's culture and has provided income and jobs in the local community and across the northeast of Scotland for centuries. But to continue to do that, the port has to look to the future. This is the story of a bold commitment from the UK's oldest business to build the country's newest harbour. The original harbour was formed at the point where two rivers, the Dee and the Don, meet the sea. The harbour grew fast and soon had royal patronage. And in 1136, King David established the Port of Aberdeen. The harbour was expanded several times over the centuries, and by the 19th century, it was able to accommodate several hundred fishing vessels. The harbour continued to expand, incorporating shipbuilders, fish processors, a fish market, and becoming a trust port. But in the 1970s, the port was transformed by a discovery 110 miles offshore: oil. Aberdeen became the first choice for oil companies to base their vessels. A new wave of wealth and opportunity transformed the city. By the turn of the millennium, the port was busier than ever and still expanding. But change was coming.
It goes back to 2005 when we first spoke about it internally, about the need to look at alternative berthing because of the constraints of the North Harbour. Subsea-related activity was already quite busy at the time. Vessel size was getting towards our upper limit. The trend was they were going to get bigger, and we knew that we wouldn't be able to accommodate that.
I think it was critical to diversification of the port going forward, that we needed larger deep water berths to realise the markets that we're predicting to unveil during the future.
You do have to focus on the port's future, not the short-term gain. That's the advantage of a trust port model.
In 2010, an ambitious plan was made to develop the nearby Nick Bay to the south of the existing harbour. The plan would allow the port to accept much larger vessels of all types, so the opportunities included other sectors, such as wind energy and cruise ships.
The option to develop in Nick Bay gave us the opportunity to look at longer berths, deeper water, but what was required was credible design.
£350 million was budgeted to build South Harbour, the biggest single investment in the port's history. A breakwater will be built on the north side, caissons and suspended decks added to create quaysides, and a second breakwater creating the new harbour entrance. Concrete acropodes will be installed to break up the force of the waves, a crown wall to shield the harbour from the harsh North Sea. The seabed will be deepened. Finally, a concrete surface will be added, providing huge storage and laydown areas. The plans are ambitious, and the scale is massive. But the port recognises the importance of acting quickly to harness the potential of the opportunity. After 6 years of detailed planning, environmental impact surveys, public engagement and feasibility studies, the plans have been approved. Construction can finally begin.
This is one of the biggest port projects in the UK at the moment. It's actually quite unusual to build new harbours. We don't do it very often here.
A site office and access roads are installed, and a factory is built on site. The factory will work day and night to produce over 9,000 acropodes that will be needed for the new breakwaters. The site is soon guarded by an army of concrete sentries. Each acropode weighs between 18 and 36 tons and needs to be installed with pinpoint precision, creating a colossal jigsaw designed to soak up the wave energy of the harsh North Sea. One of the biggest jobs is to dredge the harbour to make sure that it is deep enough for the vessels that will use it, but this must be done cautiously.
There's a very significant environmental impact assessment was carried out before we actually broke ground. It was running for more than a year. That was critical to the project going forward.
We have a range of 4 different noise monitoring stations around the bay 2 at the lighthouse and 2 over in Torry. These are monitored 24 hours a day and takes snapshots of the noise at any one time.
One of the main challenges during the construction of this project has been how we contain underwater noise. That's important because we have very strong bottlenose dolphin population in this area. We've got Atlantic salmon moving down the River Dee. We're using a bubble curtain. It's effectively a long hose which we secure to the seabed, and compressed air is forced through it, and through holes in the hose it creates a wall of bubbles from the seabed to the sea surface that absorbs and contains the noise and keeps it within the bay.
Over at the Marine Operations Centre, training has already started for the team who will be expected to guide vessels safely into the new harbour.
The preparation has been ongoing for the last year at least with the new harbour. We have charts made out how it's going to be when it's finished, and then we have in our simulator system down in the MOC building, we have a module of the new harbour, so we go in and sail basically any type of vessel outside, in and out of the new harbour under the condition that's going to be like when it's finished.
Progress is rapid and the site changes every day, but no one is ready for what happens next.
The Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced a full lockdown of the UK to slow transmission of the COVID-19 virus. Lockdown restrictions will apply to everyone except those delivering essential services.
We have been an essential service and everyone in the port has been classified as a key worker. We've been an essential part of a huge national effort across the whole of the ports industry to keep the country on the move with the provision of vital food supplies, medical supplies, fuel, and certainly our role here in Aberdeen, we've made a massive contribution to that. We're cracking on with the project and it's not stopping us from really working through our plans. We've had a few challenges as a result of COVID. One of those has been that our construction partner, we decided by mutual agreement for them to leave the project in the summer.
Due to the impact of the pandemic and other factors, the port's own team will take over construction of the project. This next wave of construction has brought in some big machinery, including Goliath, one of the world's biggest dredgers.
We felt that it would be possible to do the dredging by the Goliath, in that way eliminating the need for drilling and blasting on the project.
The Goliath is one of the biggest dredging backhooks, back actors of the world. We have the most power and also the biggest hydraulic system. The material we drop in a hopper barge. The hopper barge bring it 3 miles from here. He can open his barge, he dump it, and then he come back and then we do the same again.
By the time COVID restrictions are lifted, the project has been delayed by nearly a year, but the port's new boss is looking ahead.
Despite the challenges, despite the restrictions in place, the harbour has remained open 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, supporting our wide client base. The emphasis now is to try and return to normality, and activity is picking up and has picked up.
Work begins on the enormous crown wall, a 620-metre-long solid block of concrete. In fact, so much concrete is needed for the project that another dedicated plant is installed on site. This will supply concrete for the wall, the suspended quaysides, and the top surface of the quays. At the same time, the last of 22 enormous caissons is being brought in to complete the North Quay.
Caissons are the foundation of the quay walls for the harbour. Caissons for our project were made in La Coruña in Spain, and then once they've been constructed there, they're taken in the back of a semi-submersible vessel and they're transported up to the Cromarty Firth for temporary storage until we're ready to take them to Aberdeen.
So right now I'm standing on one of our caissons here in the Cromarty Firth. He's about 12 metres wide, 15 to 16 metres deep, 50 odd metres long and weighs over 5,000 to 6,000 tonnes. We're moving quite a large amount of concrete here and we need to take our time.
So they get towed down from Invergordon, they get brought into the harbour here and install them safely onto their beds. And after that they get filled with rock and stone to ballast them down. On top of the stone there's another 2 metres of concrete to form the deck level to enable cranes and trucks and everything to drive over the top of them.
and each caisson has a personal connection to the project team.
We have 22 caissons on site that are named after members of families within the project team.
The early team was called Stanley after my son. It makes me a very proud father.
The pace of the project has picked up. Several more milestones are approaching in quick succession.
What you see here is the southern breakwater of the Aberdeen Harbour. It's 900,000 tonnes of rock, around 600 meters. And the outside of the breakwater is covered with about 5,000 units of octopod.
The weather can be really challenging. It slows you down, but with a good planning and a good forecast of the weather and a good anticipation of what is going to happen, you can overcome these kind of challenges.
With the completion of the South Breakwater, the Crown Wall and the North Quay, the project reaches a major milestone, the arrival of the first commercial vessel.
It's a great honour for Subsea 7 to be able to bring the 7 Atlantic dive support ship into the harbour. It's got huge areas for us to lay down, put equipment. It supports the energy transition project that we're going to see. We're a fantastic new development, a great asset to the region.
The arrival of its first ship is a big boost to the project and proof of South Harbour's potential. But with the clock ticking, there's still plenty to do.
The last elements we'll be working on are the northwest and the west suspended deck areas. The suspended deck is built on concrete piles, U-beams, which are large concrete sections, approximately 50 tonnes in weight. The purpose of the suspended deck is absorption of wave energy. The revetments absorb approximately 50% of the wave energy that hits them, so it creates a much better environment for vessels. As we progress to the final stages of the project, we'll be installing lighting columns, we'll be putting water main into service trench to provide the quayside, bollards onto the quayside to allow us to moor vessels, and it's those elements that will take us from being a construction project to being an operational harbour.
Another day and another milestone as the colossal Noble Innovator Jack-up arrives. This is another early success story for the port. Before South Harbour existed, vessels of this type simply couldn't berth in Aberdeen. The legs of the Jack-up are visible all over Aberdeen, a temporary landmark for this new era of the city's history. As the project enters its final phase, outside interest is building. Stakeholders from the community and the government get their first chance to see the harbour up close.
It's fantastic to see the progress that has been made. This is a project that's not just for Aberdeen, it's not just for Scotland, it's for the entire UK, and it's one that can deliver real benefits both for the local economy and the UK's economy as a whole.
It's transformative for net zero and all our ambitions in that regard. It's transformative for the economy. It's absolutely game-changing.
I think it's fair to say that our guests today have been very impressed with what they've seen by the scale and the nature of South Harbour project and where we are.
And it's not the port's only important guest. The newly appointed First Minister visits the port on his first business engagement since taking office.
I'm hugely impressed. The incredible resilience you've got here. So if I look around the vessels that are here, you've got vessels who are involved in offshore wind, you've got cargo, decommissioning. I'm hugely impressed about the opportunities that this harbour are going to generate for the local economy.
Just a few weeks later, the first cruise ship arrives, complete with 1,200 excited passengers who have come to explore the region. With South Harbour already attracting new vessels and projects, the port's strategy is paying off.
It represents a step change in our ability to host cruise ships. We move on to the next level up in terms of the size of ship and the number of passengers that we can accommodate. And this year alone, we expect upwards of 30,000 passengers, which represents about £4 million of money spent in the local community.
After 6 years of planning, 6 years of construction, 3.5 million work hours from a diverse and skilled team, and a £420 million investment, the enormous challenge of building South Harbour is officially completed.
All areas are available for customers to be bringing vessels into the harbour, and all the laydown areas are available for them to use. It is a strange feeling to be at the end of this. It's been an enormous part of my life, an enormous part of the project team's life, and to be at the point that's finished, it's quite emotional.
It's a chance for celebration and reflection.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Aberdeen South Harbour,
It's been a long time in waiting, but it's been worth every second of it.
I'm delighted to be here for the official opening of the new South Harbour and Scotland's largest berthage port.
And what a national asset of strategic significance to Scotland. Well done to everybody who's made this happen.
This really is an exciting project. Building on what is here will be crucial for everybody in the northeast, particularly here in Aberdeen and the city. But I am truly impressed that so many have supported this concept through thick and thin. I'm delighted to officially open for the Port of Aberdeen Harbour.
Delighted to be to have completed such a fantastic project. So yeah, we're really looking forward to moving on and looking after it, and then making sure that it's fit for purpose over the coming years.
My boys have come from being very small children at the very start of the project to now being young adults, and it's been part of our family for 10 years, so to get to this point has been brilliant, so I'm super proud.
This has been a long time coming to see the completion of the South Harbour at the Port of Aberdeen. The success of the new harbour has been our ability to bring in much larger vessels, and those larger vessels are bringing prosperity into the city and the Shire.
It's been a massive effort from a huge number of people, from the board at the port, the contractors, and the community.
After almost 9 centuries, Port of Aberdeen has entered a new and exciting phase, securing opportunities for growth in energy, trade and tourism, and creating prosperity for future generations.